Good evening, and thank you for tuning into Lewis University's television network. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. I'm Brandon Najera.
And I'm Christian Kluber.
Tonight, Donald Trump mentions Cuban autism rates in his case against autism in the United States and Cuban officials lashing back at his comments. In Dallas, Texas, at least one dead in a shooting that took place in an ICE facility. The gunman is also dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In international news, millions relocated across Taiwan and mainland China as floods from Tropical Storm Ragaza ravage villages and cities. We start tonight with President Trump's claims on autism in Cuba. President Trump made a claim that there is a limited autism in Cuba, but Cuban officials say that those assertions are not based on facts. The rates there are a bit lower, 0.36 cases to every 10,000 people. But health professionals think that that stems largely from a lack of resources they need to widely diagnose it. Cuba's government says the growing number of autism cases compared to the rest of the world seems much lower, but those numbers can be deceiving because the Cuban government's officials are collecting this data and the numbers aren't necessarily lower since Cuba doesn't have the resources to diagnose autism cases. Cuban officials further said if Donald Trump has done any research on autism in Cuba, he would know his claims are not based on fact.
A woman died after being hit by a van in New York City on Wednesday. Her husband was also hurt. He's in the hospital with a skull fracture. The couple was crossing the street when they were hit by a van and pinned against a box truck. The driver of the van fled the scene, however, was later taken into custody. Authorities say the victims are tourists from Germany.
At least one person is dead and two injured after a shooting at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas. Authorities say the gunman is also dead from a self-inflicted shot. Officials say at least two of the victims are detainees and no law enforcement officers were injured. This is at least the third shooting to target a Texas ICE facility this year. According to the Deportation Data Project, the field office in Dallas has held more than 8,000 temporarily detained persons over the first 6 months of President Donald Trump's administration.
In California, a multi-county chase ended in a SWAT vehicle crash after fleeing Big Red driver in custody. Police say it started as a traffic stop, but quickly turned into a dangerous chase. Authorities say the driver was behind the wheel of a truck with plates that didn't match, but what happened inside the cab was what raised the alarms. Fontana police say a man riding in the passenger seat called his daughter mid-chase, saying he wasn't being allowed out of the vehicle. The driver allegedly grabbed the phone, triggering fears of a possible kidnapping. The driver got on and off the freeways and drove through residential streets, mostly in the Buena Park area. The chase finally ended in Buena Park, near Beach Boulevard and Franklin Street.
Former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is criticizing President Donald Trump for calling scientific consensus about climate change a con job. Trump made the comment during his speech at the UN General Assembly on Tuesday. Schwarzenegger said he considered endorsing Trump's during his 2016 campaign, but he decided not to and cited Trump's views about climate issues as the reason. Schwarzenegger says Americans could lead on the topic despite Trump's lack of support. Up next, nearly 2 million people displaced after Tropical Storm Ragaza ravages the east coast of mainland China and Taiwan. We'll be right back after these messages.
Our president feels.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought-after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you towards success today and strong growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
Nearly 2 million people were evacuated as Typhoon Ragaza slammed southern China after leaving at least 17 dead in Taiwan. Ragaza, once a Category 5 typhoon, swept through northern Philippines and Taiwan before hitting the coast of southern China. In Taiwan, a natural dam collapsed under heavy rain, unleashing floods that swept through the Hainan County, killing 17 and leaving another 17 missing in China. Guangdong province moved quickly, evacuating nearly 2 million people and relocating over 10,000 vessels. In Hong Kong and Macau, authorities issued their highest typhoon alert. The storm brought 180 km/h winds, massive waves, and storm surges over 3 meters high. At least 90 people were injured in Hong Kong, and nearly 900 took refuge in emergency shelters. Meanwhile, rescue crews remain on high alert as the storm weakens and moves towards Vietnam, expected to disperse by Friday.
Yemen drone strikes injuries over 20 in southern Israeli city of Eilat. 2 are in serious condition. Israeli officials say a drone fired from Yemen struck near shops and restaurants in the Red Sea city. On Wednesday, at least 22 people were injured, leaving 2 seriously injured. A 60-year-old man suffered severe limb wounds, and one 26-year-old man took debris to the chest. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed the attempts were made to intercept the drone, but it penetrated Israel's air defense system. The Houthi militants in Yemen have not claimed responsibility. The Iran-backed group has launched multiple drone and missile strikes at Israel since the outbreak of war in Gaza last year.
2 of the busiest Scandinavian airports were forced to close for several hours due to sightings of a drone Tuesday night. Travel plans were disrupted, thousands of people. Denmark's Copenhagen airport was closed for almost 4 hours on Monday after 2 or 3 large unidentified drones were spotted in the airspace, preventing the flights from taking off or landing. The drones came from multiple directions, turning their lights off and on before eventually disappearing. The drones haven't been located.
Italy and Spain sent vessels in an attempt to assist Gaza and flotilla after drone attacks at the sea. Both countries have announced that naval vessels are en route to support aided ships targeted while en route to Gaza. Activists on the board, the Global Sumad flotilla, say that multiple drones struck or nearly struck their boats, causing damage and panic among over 500 unarmed participants. The attacks occurred just days before the flotilla was set to reach Gaza. Nationals from Italy, Sweden, and Spain are all on board. The Houthi-ran Al Masiriyah outlet praised the attacks, though no group has officially claimed responsibility. Israel has previously warned that it would take necessary measures to block the flotilla from entering what is called the legitimate combat zone. Italian and Spanish leaders condemned the drone strikes, calling for investigation and urging the flotilla to hand off the aid to organizations that can deliver it safely.
A man in his 40s has been arrested in connection with cyber attacks that disrupted major European airports. He was detained in West Sussex, England, accused of offenses under the Computer Misuse Act. As of now, he's been released on bail. The arrest follows a cyber attack last week that disabled check-in systems at airports in London, Berlin, Brussels, and Dublin. Thousands of passengers faced delays. Airports had to use handwritten boarding passes and manual check-ins. Next, Romeoville leaders have greenlit a new major effort to plant new trees over the next 6 years. That story and more after this.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought-after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you towards success today and strong, growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
Local story from last night, Leo High School came in 4th on America's Got Talent. Romeoville leaders have greenlit a major new tree planting effort over the next 6 years. The village will plant more than 2,500 native trees. Officials say the plan will help improve air quality, reduce flooding, and boost natural beauty across town. Some of the plantings will replace invasive species that threaten the local ecosystems. Village staff say the project is one of the largest environmental initiatives in Romeoville's history.
Romeoville is moving forward with its long-term plan to secure a sustainable water supply. Village officials say the modernization is critical as the demands grow and infrastructure ages. Current studies are focused on finding the best source to serve residents well into the future. Leaders emphasize that water safety and reliability are top priorities. The project is still in the early stages, but updates will continue as decisions are made.
A Plainfield 7th grader is earning national recognition for her civic knowledge. After winning both the local and state levels of the Civics Bee, she's heading to Washington, D.C. this November to compete in the national finals. The competition tests students on U.S. history, government, and civic engagement. Teachers say her hard work and dedication set an example for the other young people. If she wins, she'll bring national honors back to Plainfield.
Immigration enforcement activity in Joliet is raising concerns among residents. The Joliet Rapid Response Team confirmed that there are federal agents from ICE were active on the city's east side. Witnesses reported children were present inside a vehicle when the stop took place. Local advocacy group Warehouse Workers for Justice criticized the operation, saying it created fear in the community. ICE has not released details about the case, though. Up next, entertainment with Michelle Stash.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Jimmy Kimmel is back on the air, and he didn't waste any time speaking out. Kimmel defended free speech and took a few jabs at rising political tension. Disney says they brought him back after, quote, thoughtful conversations, but critics like President Trump say ABC gave into pressure. Some stations are still choosing not to air the show, and the controversy could hit Disney's bottom line. But some analysts think keeping Kimmel off the air might have caused an even bigger backlash from fans. There are some big movie moments headed our way. Christian Bale is stepping into the role of Frankenstein's monster in The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal and starring Jessie Buckley as his companion. The film is set to hit theaters in 2026. Meanwhile, Hulu is dropping a high-stakes remake of the 90s thriller, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Look out for that on October 22nd. And Spider-Man fans, get ready. Tobey Maguire's original Spider-Man trilogy is swinging back into theaters during the weekends of September 26th and October 3rd. Bill Nye the Science Guy just earned a major honor, his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The beloved science teacher educator was recognized for his decades of work, making science fun and accessible. Nye gave a heartfelt speech at the ceremony thanking teachers, scientists, and fans for their support. He's best known for his 90s TV show, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Now he's officially a star, both in science and on the sidewalk in Hollywood. Fat Bear Week is back, and it's bigger, bolder, and chunkier than ever. The fan favorite online contest lets people vote for their favorite hefty brown bears as they bulk up. As they bulk up for hibernation. In Alaska's Katmai National Park, rangers track the bears' weight gain and public votes in a bracket-style showdown at explore.org. Last year, more than 4.1 million people from 60 countries participated. Think March Madness, but more fur and fewer free throws. Star Wars fans, the wait is finally over. The Mandalorian and Grogu is heading to the big screen. The brand new trailer just released, featuring everyone's favorite duo, including Baby Yoda, in action-packed battles against robots and more. Pedro Pascal is back as the Mandalorian, joined by Sigourney Weaver and Jeremy Allen White. It's the first Star Wars movie in 6 years and a major spin-off from the hit Disney Plus series, so mark your calendars for May 22nd, 2026. Up next, Sharon Sharian with your health update.
The Ray Strong Foundation was created about 4 years ago. It came after, as a couple, we had our first child. She was born at 24 weeks. She weighed 1 pound, 12 ounces. Then she proceeded to spend another 4 months in the NICU. That was the time that she should have been growing in the womb. During the 4 months, we visited her daily, and we got to sit down with the doctors and the nurses, and the amount of medical knowledge and what they can do to make sure that your child survives is amazing. And just the experience, it was nothing we could have ever been prepared for. So emotionally, we became very tied to the micropreemie world. And that was when we decided to create a foundation with the goal of trying to give thanks back to the NICUs, the nurses, and then also provide any sort of emotional or financial help to other families that might experience what we went through.
We've had the opportunity to host over 40 events, celebrating micropreemies, fundraising, and bringing awareness to micropreemies and their families. When you get a chance, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or our website at raystrong.org. Donate, and thanks again for all the support.
Thank you.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
Check your freezers again. Tens of thousands of bags of frozen shrimp have been recalled because they could be contaminated with a radioactive isotope. The shrimp was sold under Kroger and Aquastar brand names at multiple retailers in more than 24 states between June 12th and September 17th of this year. The recall includes Kroger Raw Colossal E to Z Peel Shrimp, Kroger Mercado Cooked Medium Peeled Tail-Off Shrimp, and Aquastar Raw Peeled Tail-On Shrimp Skewers. There are also other cooked varieties, including shrimp cocktails products, under recall. No illnesses have been reported. You should either throw out the shrimp or return it for a refund. Sprout Organics is expanding a recall of its baby food pouches because of positive elevated lead levels. The recall affects 3.5-ounce pouches of Sprout Organics, sweet potato, apple, and spinach. Last week's voluntary recall of 1 lot is being expanded to additional lots. The product was sold at Walgreens, independent stores across a number of states and online. Most sales from the original recall were between September and December 2024. The recall includes Best Buy dates of October 29th and 30th and December 4th of this year and February 4th of next year. No other Sprout Organics products are affected. You can return the product to the store for a full refund. So far, no illnesses have been reported. Produce could be exposing you to more potential toxins than you think. A new study found eating a lot of fruits or vegetables with higher levels of pesticides may raise the levels of pesticides in your urine. The study is from the Environmental Working Group, known for its Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists. The group compared USDA produce testing with human urine samples and found the more high pesticide produce you eat, the more pesticides show up in your body. To limit exposure, the group says to buy organic, carefully clean your produce, and choose fruits and vegetables with lower pesticide levels. A new study suggests drinking any amount of alcohol may increase your risk of dementia. The research combined observational data with genetic techniques. For the observational data part, the study authors analyzed nearly 560,000 people. They concluded that those who reported consuming small amounts of alcohol had a lower risk of developing dementia compared to both heavy and, interestingly, non-drinkers. The researchers' genetic analysis used dozens of studies involving more than 2 million people. They compared genetic markers associated with alcohol use over a lifetime. That research found higher alcohol consumption was associated with a higher risk of dementia, with no safe small amount of alcohol. In fact, the researchers say 3 drinks a week was tied to a 15% higher risk of dementia compared to only a single weekly drink. Up next, weather with Christian Kluver and sports with Jaden Elmore.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
Welcome back, Flyers, to your weekly weather forecast. We're going to start with our low temperatures around the region tonight. At Western Aurora, we're sitting at 52. Chicago and the city out east, we're at 56. When we go north to Waukegan, Rockford, kind of ranges between 52 and 56 degrees. Down south, it's 49. All very similar around. For tonight's high, same thing, pretty similar all around the area. Up north in Rockford, it is 78 and it's 75 in Waukegan. Down south, it's 77 in Kankakee. West in Aurora, it is 76. And all the way out east in Indiana, South Bend, it is 73. LaPorte is going to stay 72. For our regional radar, it is almost completely clear, which is great to see. There's a little bit of scattered showers out by Cincinnati, but that is well past us, so we don't have to worry about it in this region. So very nice, easy forecast for us. Temperature changes. These are over the last 24 hours. Up north in Rockford, it was an 8-degree temperature change. We shift over to Waukegan, it was only a 3-degree temperature change. However, when we go down south, it was 5-degree change in Joliet and 2-degree change all the way out east in Indiana in South Bend. And for our 7-day outlook this week, on Thursday, our high was 74, our low was 57. It was partly sunny. We have a great weekend ahead of us. It is going to be sunny and hot this last weekend, which is great. It's probably going to be our last weekend like this before winter comes around. 82, 81, and 80. All again, great temperatures, even our lows, very comfortable. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, same thing. That sun is still out and shining. It is 82 on Monday as our high, 64 as our low, 79 is our high on Tuesday, and 74 is our high on Wednesday. That is all for our weather this week. We're going to pass to Jimmy Elmore with sports.
The New York Mets pulled off a 9-7 win over the Chicago Cubs in a back-and-forth game. Francisco Lindor opened the scoring with a solo home run in the first, but the Cubs answered with 5 runs in the first 2 innings, including a big 2-run double from Ian Happ. The Mets rallied in the 5th when Brandon Nimmo hit a 3-run homer to tie the game at 6. Lindor added a RBI single in the 6th to give New York the lead, but Seiya Suzuki RBI quickly evened things up. The difference came in the 8th when Francisco Alvarez crushed a 2-run homer to center, putting the Mets on top for good. New York held on for the 9-7 victory thanks to timely hitting down the stretch. Chicago Blackhawks fans got to see a glimpse of what the young team has to offer for the upcoming season. On Tuesday night, the Hawks opened their preseason on the road against the Detroit Red Wings, losing 3-2. Forward Connor Bedard started the scoring for Chicago with a power play goal in the second period. In the third period, defenseman Wyatt Kaiser scored, keeping the Hawks game in the game. The Red Wings scored moments after, taking the lead, back again, and ultimately winning the game. Despite their loss, the future generation of the team was shown greatly during the game with many rookies playing. The Hawks will continue their preseason schedule on Saturday against the St. Louis Blues. Their first game of the regular season will be on October 7th against the Florida Panthers. Lewis University's head women's basketball coach, Dodie Dunson Jr., has officially unveiled the Flyers' 2025 to 2026 non-conference schedule, which will include 8 contests spread across home, road, and neutral sites. The season begins November 14th through the 15th at the Wisconsin Dells Invitational, where Lewis will face Northern Michigan on opening night before meeting Michigan Tech the next evening. The Flyers then host their home opener at Neil Carey Arena on November 20th against Davenport, followed by a road game at Northwood on November 23rd, where Lewis holds a 7-2 all-time edge in the series. On November 25th, the Flyers will host former GLVC rival UW Parkside, then finish their non-conference home schedule with matchups against Central State on December 13th and Concordia on December 15th. Lewis will close out its non-conference schedule on December 20th with a road game against Roosevelt, a team that the Flyers defeated by 20 points last season. Ticket information for the upcoming season will be announced at a later date. The Lewis University's men's golf team wrapped up a play at the Indy Invitational on Tuesday, finishing 11th overall at Broadmoor Country Club. The Flyers recorded a 3-round team scored at 877, putting them at a 13 over par for the tournament. Grand Valley State dominated the competition with an impressive 813 to secure first place, while Hillsdale followed in the second at 836, and McKendree rounded out the top 3 with 856. Grand Valley's Bryce Wheeler earned medalist honors with a 201, finishing 15 under par, while 2 others tied for runner-up at 205. Lewis was paced by Di Todi, Bo Berman, and Gabriel Delavelle, who each tied for 38th with matching totals of 220, while Ethan Horman and Noah Hankinson also contributed solid rounds. The Flyer will return the competition October 6th through 7th when they host their own Flyers Fall Intercollegiate at Cog Hill Golf and Country Club in Lamont. Former NFL and Auburn star Rudy Johnson has died at the age of 45 in Florida. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office says a preliminary investigation indicates his death was a suicide with no foul play suspected. Johnson made his mark at Auburn in his lone season, earning SEC Player of the Year honors before being drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 4th round of the 2001 NFL Draft. He spent 7 seasons with the Bengals and wrapped up his career with Detroit Lions in 2008. Auburn described him as one of the best to ever wear the orange and blue, while the Bengals remember him as both a standout player and a respected teammate. That's it this week for Week in Sports. We'll be right back after these messages.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you toward success today and strong growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
That's it for today's news. And as a reminder, you can always keep up with Lewis University Television Network on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and by visiting our YouTube channel. I'm Brandon Najera.
And I'm Christian Kluber. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.